A very good afternoon to all the participants. My name is Dr. Vignesh. I'm part of the National Digital Library of India team. We are providing technical support to the PN Panika Foundation in organizing these webinars. And under this COVID-19, Quit COVID and Jan Vigyan Jagriti initiative, the PN Panikar Foundation has been organizing a series of awareness webinars on COVID and Jan Vigyan Jagriti. And so far, we have organized 15 such awareness webinars. And today, this is the 16th webinar. And the topic for today's webinar is green tech and green jobs. And we have a very renowned and very senior most faculty member and a professional, Dr. Sunil Chako, with us. He was the former faculty at Harvard University, and also he was the former World Bank Executive Office Advisor. So we have one of those very seasoned resource person for today's webinar. Now we formally invite Dr. Sunil Chako. Now I request Balagopalji to welcome our resource person and also the participants. Over to Balagopal, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Vignesh. It's a pleasure and privilege for me to invite my old friend, Dr. Sunil Chako. We are having a relationship for the last 40 years because he was the gold medalist, first class gold medalist for MBBS from the Trivandrum Medical College. Even during that time, he was very much associated with so many social activities. Social activities in the sense that Amnesty International, he was one of the main man in Kerala for the Amnesty International, advocate for the Amnesty International programs. And he came to me for the first time for joining an Amnesty International organization and do some charity work through that organization. And apart from that, in the medical college, he was the Students Federation, Students Association president, and he wanted us to support his activities in medical college and other things. And then he went to Japan and United States, and he has become the former faculty. He has become the faculty of the Harvard University, and he joined World Bank Executive Office Advisor. And after that, when he returned, and he had a marriage with our Tomoko. She is also a very excellent not only worker. She's the designing, and she's doing quite a support for him to take up this renewable energy in agriculture, lithium ion battery for electrical works, and renewable energy in telecom towers. After returning to Kerala, India, he was moving close with the Planning Commission. Now it is Niti Aayog, and he had a lot of projects with Niti Aayog in renewable energy program in through telecom towers. And in fact, he to UP and Bihar areas. He focused in UP and Bihar areas through which the renewable energy in telecom towers can be established. And in that respect, he has organized a lot of activities also. In fact, I was also fascinated by his work in renewable energy in telecom towers. And now he is doing all this work for researchers in this economy of the world, not only India, the entire world, in assessing the economy and controlling the economy, how the economy can be, how India can go from 3 million economy to 10 million economy, 10 trillion economy. That is motive. And in this aspect, he had interactions with the chief and the prime ministers of the country, and he recently came with a delegation from Japan to the Prime Minister of India, and he is doing a lot of good work in development of the country. And today he is presenting the very what do you call it, this webinar which are forced him to address green tech and green jobs. And because Suril Chakra has done a lot of research in this green jobs, the green tech and green jobs. With this background, I am requesting Dr. Uh, Sunil Chako to start his webinar on this very important subject, because now we are building green economy. India is also is stressing keen interest in building the green economy. And at the moment he is working in USA, in Japan, both USA and Japan. And Japan, he is assisting his wife. She is doing a lot of research in Japan, and she was formerly with the Toshiba. Now both the couples are doing wonderful work in deriving this renewable energy, this non-conventional energy to the development of the world. Thank you, Dr. Uh, Suri Chako. Please start your webinar. For your information, we would like to say that the webinar is recorded, and the webinar is live through YouTube, and you can view your webinar's page from the YouTube from tomorrow. Not even after the moment you finish this webinar, it will be in the YouTube also. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Balopalji. Thank you, Dr. Vignesh, for a very generous and kind introduction. I actually have known Balopalji for 45 years, since 1975-76, when I was a student at the Government Arts College. I belonged at that time to the aspirational class when my father had died when I was 12 years old. And I thought Balopalji is part of the inspirational class. So I think, I always believe it's very important to combine the aspirational class with the inspirational class. Indeed, Balopalji should write a book on how he can maintain his enthusiasm over so many decades through ups and downs of life. One of the great qualities he has, to be so optimistic, upbeat, and inspirational to everybody around. But I'll come straight to because of shortage of time, I'll go straight to my presentation now. The bottom line of the renewable energy issue is that the sun will be shining with the same intensity 100 years from now. That's one thing we can be sure about. And the wind too will continue to blow. This is unlike any other source of energy. That is the great feature of this sector. But of course, I'm not going to restrict only to renewable energy. When in terms of green jobs, computer jobs are also very good and important jobs. And so I'll get to that too. So I'm covering solar and wind, renewable energy in telecom, renewable energy in agriculture, lithium-ion batteries, which is the most important feature of electronic vehicles, and of course, computer jobs. Now, I thought I'd start with a live example. Right now, just a few days ago, Oryx, which is a major Japanese company, announced nearly $1 billion investment in Greenco, which is mostly owned by Singapore and Abu Dhabi investment funds, but operates in India. What they did is that they transferred wind energy assets from the bankrupt ILNFS company. They transferred it to Greenco management. So I went ahead and took a look at what kind of technology, because with every investment, you have a technologies. And with every technology, you have also the jobs, the green jobs, and the personnel that come with it. And this is the important feature that we are focusing on today. So this is an example where they are using a hybrid. They have solar, they have wind, they also have the basically this pumped hydro, where they store the energy, especially from wind at night, in the pumped hydro, so that they can draw it when needed. And this is very data intensive, so there are significant control systems as well. And then it's also linked to the grid. So this is the core of their technology, and obviously it comes with many green jobs. Now, in areas where there's tremendous wind, like in certain parts of Kanyakumari district in Tamil Nadu, if you stand there, you will feel like you are going to be blown away. And women's saris and all just start to fly around like the sails of a ship. So it's a very interesting factor. That's where we do have good wind, you can put up these wind turbines and generate power. So that's one angle. Now on mobile, so each of what I'm going to talk about today is driven by our experience on the ground. We developed a Japan-India project for converting telecom towers to renewable energy. Mobile towers, as you know, have employed a tremendous number of the aspirational class, technicians, engineers, managers, people who were supplying diesel to the polluting generators at one point, because 150,000 of the 500,000 towers are off grid, and therefore because of the power situation at the time, about 10 years ago, they were mainly relying on diesel. And that is very tough to actually go on motorbikes. They carry these cans of diesel, and the aspirational class is doing that work so that rural people have access. This is the point I just covered about the fact that and solar, of course, is much more costly than grid power. But the point is, at the time, especially, but the point is that grid power was not there all the time. Therefore, you had to create renewable energy to power the mobile towers so that they don't rely on diesel alone. And also another feature is that, unlike other industries, the mobile tower industry has to provide power 99 or has to provide service 99% of the time. Otherwise, they will get fined. You can't say, well, we don't have power, so sorry, you can't make a phone call. So that's the one big difference. But in addition to the mobile towers, the solar panels also power, for example, pumps for agriculture. This is another, we try to combine those two needs for power. So when you have an agricultural field near a mobile tower, we looked at having supply from the tower, from the solar panels to both needs. This is inside the greenhouse. It requires small pumps, and also larger pumps to draw water from the bore wells. Further, an allied company was producing solar lanterns where you can recharge the battery inside the solar lantern. And these were being used by the MSMEs, as you can see here, by shops. And we also presented these lanterns to members of the National Disaster Response Force that served in NDRF, that served in Japan after their earthquake. This is the ceremony we organized in Delhi at the Constitutional Club to honor their service. And you can see Dr. Kurokawa, who was the scientific advisor to the Prime Minister of Japan, and Dr. Uehara, my Harvard classmate, who worked directly in the radiation affected areas and sadly passed away thereafter. The core of the renewable energy work that we were doing involved the lithium-ion batteries. And lithium-ion batteries today are the mainstay, the core of the electronic vehicle. So we thought that, for example, the older EV batteries could be deployed in stationary projects like for agriculture or for the mobile tower. Once once you have a good recycling program, that actually still needs to be set up, because soon, if so many cars are driven, that the goal is to have 30% of all electronic vehicles run on, 30% of all vehicles should be electric vehicles by 2030. So you're going to have a lot of batteries that will be available for the recycling program. And that could be deployed as well. The lithium-ion batteries today are being manufactured in India also, manufactured meaning assembled in India also. The components are not yet manufactured, but hopefully the components will be manufactured too. The goal here of this Japanese plant in Gujarat is to have 6 million cells per year. And as I said, we do need a recycling program. And the lead acid battery has a recycling program, a well-established one, but we would need one similar one for the lithium-ion batteries. Many of you may not have seen the inside of the mobile towers. You have solar panels, you have the diesel generator, you have these lead acid batteries. And of course, you have these towers. So that you may not have seen, that's why I'm showing you the pictures. And of course, the aspirational class needs to know, needs to learn through formal mechanisms, but also through training programs, how to wire up all these devices. And in fact, we have mentored some of them. This is Mayur, he's standing in a bajra field post-harvest. And this is Tomoko, who Balopalji kindly mentioned. So of course, we have mentored him. He became a full-fledged professional in the process. Indeed, Balopalji has also met him. The solar panels, we used 10 kilowatt solar panels for each mobile tower. So as part of the process, we brought our Japanese engineer also to India, who was very delighted to have dinner with Mr. Mayur and so on, and learn about India and how India's young people are studying, learning. He learned about parallel and series wiring, all those kinds of things. Quality measurements. He brought in a lot of good quality measurement equipment, which a lot of young technicians were able to learn from directly. And both sides were very happy, because they told me that people above 60 in their village just don't do any work. They were so impressed that this Japanese gentleman nearing 70 was like climbing on the towers and so on. And so they were very happy to work collaboratively with him. Again, back to the needs for in the agriculture field, not just for greenhouse, but outside too, for drip irrigation, for sprinkler irrigation. You can link it to solar pumps. Okay, now I'm going to transition to the computer industry, because those what I've covered already are more or less the well-known classic cases of green jobs. There are some angles that I've not yet emphasized, like, for example, the auto mechanics. They would really have to learn completely new skills, because the electric vehicle is going to be so different from the regular car. And so to work on the inside of an electric vehicle will take a lot of new skills. But because of shortage of time, I'd like to transition now to the computer industry, which has been India's strength, but kind of primarily focused on the very highly skilled who have been doing work internationally, especially for the United States. At one point, there was a $100 billion export business, mainly to the US. And so the industry grew a lot, and they were getting jobs, of course, in a few companies like TCS, Wipro, Infosys. So a few companies were employing thousands of young people, indeed my younger brother too. And then they were providing service starting from the Y2K, year 2000 problem. But we've come to a new phase where India too can have its own products and services internally and also for export, have unique products and services that are very Indian that can be then exported. In effect, the computer industry comprises software, hardware, and the human, human interaction. In addition, the inputs are coming through things like the keyboard, the mouse, and microphone, joystick, etc. To this, I would add sensors because, like the Internet of Things is one area that is growing rapidly, where you have sensors feeding in data. And I say all this, and it's not like it's something I started just recently. Actually, I was responsible in 1993, just when the browsers just started, late 92. The browser came online, and I was responsible for initiating the first internet-based service of the World Bank Group. And so I have long history since 1993 of working on web-related applications. And today we are working on the digital health area. Now I looked at like job requirements, what kind of skills you need, what sort of training is available, where is it available? So I wanted to lay out a few examples of good jobs that are available for the aspirational class, especially if they can get the right skills. Surely the constraint skills are and experience, these are the constraints that have to be overcome by organizations like the ones hosting this webinar. I'll start with mobile application developer. What do? Mobile application developers create software for mobile devices. Mobile, and I'm not touching all the black part of black lettering. I'm just going to focus on the red lettering in case you can read it. Otherwise, I'm going to explain that. Mobile developers write programs inside a mobile development environment. India is basically a mobile country. Everybody has a mobile. Everybody loves to to play with their mobile and to use it for productive purposes, as well as, of course, for communication. Now, the kinds of skills you need are like C, C++, Java. These are the software programming languages that the individual needs to learn, as an example. And of course, Google's Android, Apple's iOS, these are all the mobile platforms and many more that are used. I'll go to the next slide. Software engineer is another job title and opportunity. What do? They develop computer systems and applications. They design, develop, improve upon the computer programs that we use every day, including business applications, operating systems. There are two types of software engineers: application software engineers and system software engineers. Application software engineers analyze end users' needs and develop custom program to meet those needs. The modern languages they use are like C, C++, PHP, Objective-C, Perl, and Python. System software engineers coordinate the creation, maintenance, and expansion of an organization's internal computer systems. These are all good jobs, but do require training that all are possible today online. This is a very interesting phase we have reached, particularly as the theme of all these webinars is, post-COVID, the post-COVID era. Another one is IT security specialist. Today, cyber attacks are very common. They continue to escalate. They are in great demand to protect IT operations, mobile devices, to do risk management, to assure on information protection and cloud security. And they're supposed to develop plans to safeguard the computer files, to upgrade the software, upgrade basically the antivirus software, erect firewalls to prevent and protect against attacks, and so on. Now, there are growing needs in particular sectors. For example, healthcare is one such, where people in the past used to work only with paper. Everybody used to write. In many cases, people could not even read what the doctor would write. But now, increasingly, things are moving to a paperless environment. And therefore, the needs for computer systems in healthcare is really rising, including interoperability between legacy systems. Now, one type of job is a computer systems analyst in the healthcare. Here, it is because of, in the US as well as India, there's a growing interest for government mandates, government funding, big government programs and which involve storing information in electronic medical records, as an example. So that, okay. And a subsidiary kind of position is the health information technician position, who would do things like medical coding, medical billing, participate in the cancer registry. Database administrator is a very key job because a company's wealth is the data it holds. The data is supposed to be the new oil. So the database administrator is the one who manages the data of the corporation or the public sector company. It doesn't matter whether private or public. And so they have to handle things like payroll, manufacturing, sales, all of that runs off databases. So they must be certified in a range of these database management systems, like including Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, and so on. Now, the video game industry is a $140 billion industry, but a small segment of that is educational video game industry. So that is the one, of course, where we focus on, and that is very important for training, teaching, including on social issues related to health. To summarize a few points on what is really required to get and maintain good computer jobs for the aspirational class, they must be able to interact with this inspirational class. They must have good opportunities for education and training so that they can also speak clearly in English, Hindi, regional languages. That bilingual ability actually makes them be able to speak very clearly, should be able to organize life, work, environment, and the living environment, to clean. Actually, in Japan is a very interesting example. Everybody cleans. There is absolutely no issue with that. Everybody cleans and is supposed to clean. Their workspace, their rooms, bathrooms, everything people are supposed to clean, and they do. Ability to manage time, very important. To be responsive. When you make a WhatsApp message or call, there must be a reply quickly to show that the person is on the job. To be paid means to be responsible and not to produce excuses why the task could not be completed. The individuals need personal reference points by working at NGOs as volunteers, where NGOs with credibility like the P.N. Panikkar Foundation can provide a reference. There must be connector people like my good friend Dr. Harikumar Balopalji, Dr. Pamposh, Dr. Vignesh, so many, myself, others. We have living examples of young people we have mentored who are doing well. Why I say all this is because today the software industry is really taking much of the value that was in other sectors. This is a very good example. Tata used to be known as a steel company, but today more than 2/3 of its market capitalization comes from software. It is not surprising, therefore, that the TCS chairman became the chairman of Tata, the whole of the Tata. Now, last few slides, I'm trying to end quickly. What's needed really for green jobs in the computer field? First, a registry of all online courses and programs. So I think Balopalji and his team can do that, to keep a registry of all online courses and programs. And that can be given to the aspirational class in referral. Accreditation and the harmonization should be done between the US and Indian accreditation systems, so that people who get certified in America while sitting in India, for example, could then could work both in India and the US in terms of, because everything is done online, so physical, where the person is physically is less important. Referrals based on aptitude and background, choose online programs for each of individual. That can be a service, actually. And in certain countries, that is a paid service, or in this case, it could be a reimbursed service by government or other institutions. Online programs should be open to as many qualified people as possible. They must be given interviewing skills to be able to do well in interviews, and then there should be placement programs as well. Now, my last few slides are about how the computer world generates so much stress that people actually want to get involved in other parts of the green jobs as a side business or as a full-time business once they leave the computer world. For example, in this picture here on the left, I'm sure you cannot tell me who the organic farmer is who was running this greenhouse and having solar as a power source, because in fact it is this gentleman who, and not you might have guessed that this would be the farmer, but in other words, the world of farming itself is transforming so much, but it's also generating a lot of good jobs. So that's very interesting. On the right, there was a picture of an organic vegetable. In Japan too, people in the IT industry do other things like oyster aquaculture. A heart surgeon friend of mine, again, who goes through a lot of stress, does aquaculture as a way to reduce stress. I myself have grown mushrooms and have harvested Yuzu Citrus fruit, which is a Japanese delicacy. And last slide to end. We do a lot of things, but sometimes it's for the simplest of reasons that we do what we do. I think that when you have such small children who are trying to pump water, it's not easy. But if you just attach a solar pump, it would make life so easy for them and for all of us. So thank you so much for listening, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful presentation. It was an eye opener, and we could see a lot of avenues in generating green jobs. We feel very happy to know about all these things from you. Now, participants, it's open for questions. Uh, uh, Now you can put the questions in the chat box. We will request our person to respond to your questions. So before we get to the questions from the participants, sir, I have a question. So with the 5G technology in place, would you think still uh, the green jobs in terms of mobile from the mobile telecom sector will be growing? If yes, to what extent? That is my question number one. My second question is, uh, like even the renewable power sector, especially the solar power, there is a huge amount of water required uh, for cleaning of the that what you call the panels. So, to what extent it is a real green technology? So, I wanted to understand it from a layman's perspective from you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Vignesh. On 5G, it's a very interesting question. 5G will generate a lot of actually new types of jobs. Uh, the IoT, the Internet of Things space, is going to grow exponentially. Lots of sensors, you can monitor. Everybody is looking forward to 5G because of the opportunity to use sensors everywhere. And this is not like something to do with anything invasion of privacy, because again, you have to be very careful on all those matters of privacy. However, once you have a lot of sensors, you can actually add to the to life. For example, I'll give you a simple example. There are 75,000 people in Japan aged 100 and above, and that will keep rising. Japan has got a huge aging population. And many of them, especially away from the big cities, are living alone because their spouse would obviously have died earlier. And the tragedy is that in certain cases, nobody knows that this person has passed away. But if you have a simple sensor in the house that sends out a signal each time the person moves, there's no need for anybody to panic. Simple things like that. It's a movement detection. That kind of system can work well through the having 5G. And the IoT space, therefore, is going to really boom, and so much opportunity will come like that. It's so many examples. So that's on 5G, and we are all waiting really for the big rollouts of 5G. On solar power and cleaning panels, yes, you are very, very right that a certain amount of cleaning has to be done. We did actually measure that kind of difference. And while it's always nice to clean, but there are a range of ways you can reduce the water consumption actually also by having mechanized rollers, not necessarily only spraying water. So again, it's a good area for R&D to find out how to keep it clean without using huge quantities of water.
Thank you, sir. So we are getting feedback from Ms. Sati. Wonderful informative session. Dr. N. Panikar, excellent presentation. Dr. N. Panikar has put a question. How can your program help decentralized village self-help group like the Natu Kutam in Kuttanad, Kerala?
Yes, can I rely on Balopalji to step in with some points on that, because I will follow him on this.
Okay, Balagopal sir, you have to unmute yourself and turn on the camera. Balagopal sir. His mic is not yet unmuted.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is it okay now? Is it okay now?
Yeah. Now we're fine. Sir.
Yes, the Dr. Panikar's question. In fact, I was with him in Nattukutam, in of Mangam area, the village Mangam. There he is doing a lot of wonderful work in water through this water hyacinth, and how to make because the Kuttanad is immersed with all around, all the four sides. The Kuttanad is full of water, and in fact they are in fact when the people living there, They want pure water for drinking. And even though they have water in plenty, they don't have the facilities to make it pure. So a lot of initiatives, with people's participation, the government cannot do anything. With the people's participation, the water has to be purified. And with the support, of course, with the support of the government also, with the panchayat administration. And there I want to, Dr. Surichako, to visit Kutnad next time when he is coming to Trivandrum, and
Surely,
he
surely.
can also see some of the real facts rising out of Kutnad, and because of its nature also, the peculiar land area, the land, the what you call this landscape, the landscape, etc., is very particular, peculiar. So with that landscape and lot of water, we have to do something urgently. With the support of people like Dr. Eren Panikar, he's a waterman. Uh, we have to do something very positive in giving pure drinking water to them, because most of the drinking water available in Kutnad, the moment Kutnad is very very contaminated, and there are initiatives. There are initiatives by the government as well as the people's initiatives. There, I want you to do something with the support of the artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things. Something has to be done effectively, and I wanted to have a visit to this area and study the real problems. If I can communicate, will not be correct. Both of you, Tomoko and yourself, should come and spend some 2-3 days in Kutnad area, the rice bowl of Kerala. Previously, it was the rice bowl of Kerala. Now it is contaminated, and lot of issues because of the recent flood. The lot of houses were destroyed, and people are they are cursing the government. In fact, they are cursing the government. But they are Dr. Nen, people like Nen Panikar is doing some good job, and they are making some small initiative to give pure drinking water. Is it okay, Panikar sir? നമുക്ക് ചെയ്തുകൂടെ? Panikar sir. Oh, cannot speak. Okay. Yes. Dr. Vignesh.
Definitely, we'll visit with you, Balopalji, Kutanad. Look forward.
Sure. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. I think there are not much questions from the participants. I think they have all enjoyed the session. Balagopal sir, over to you.
Yes, yes. It was an amazing speech, amazing presentation. In fact, I liked very much, because I am now one of the proponent of green jobs, and I was amazed to hear from you. There's a vast scope for this green jobs, and promotion of green jobs through youngsters, through technology, through this technology, IT enabled services, and other IT-based activities. We can generate a lot of green jobs through this telecom towers, through these mobile towers, in providing uninterrupted mobile services, and in providing organic, making organic farming, in developing all other things for the all other things which are required for the mankind. And the green jobs and green economy will have a very dominant role. And the youngsters now, the Kerala is they want unemployment. They want to eradicate unemployment. To eradicate unemployment, green jobs, promotion of green jobs, and courses and training programs related to green technology has to be implemented in a big way, with the help of Dr. Surichako, etc. Because I need now. I also learned a lot of things. Surichako and his team has to tour the rural Kerala's. Now he has gone only to UP and Bihar, rural Kerala's, and educate the youngsters, IT. I'm not asking for big engineers or scholars. IT IIT, ITI. I they will know that after the SLC they will go for ITs, the polytechnics, and then engineers, all type of engineering, and they have to be educated properly and how they can generate jobs, the high returns. That should be the motive, because that's why we are focusing on this green energy, green technology, and green economy. And this Jan Vijnan Jagrati, we are focusing on Jan Vijnan Jagrati in all the aspirational districts of the country. And now we have started, and response also very good in Rameshwaram, the coastal area where our former president was born. Here, there, through this fisherman community, and we are doing some good initiatives, or small initiatives, the support of the district administration, and to create green jobs. And there also we are purifying water, the seawater, purifying seawater, and making seawater organic food also, organic food, etc. That's why we have started this cultivation of Moringa in a big way. These people are coming forward, the to cultivate Moringa and make them in value-added products, so that now it has become the global food. So these harnessing for solar energy, and they can go for value-added products in Moringa, and they can export this superfood to other parts of the country and earn good income and good return. They will have good return also. And the district administration is also very keen to have sustainable income for the this fishermen community. And Dr. Sunil Chakoji, I want you to come to this Rameshwaram and other plots, and especially in the Kerala and the rural Kerala also.
Very good. We'll
Thank you.
come with you. We appreciate always your friendship for many, many decades, and your leadership and your willingness and ability to keep upbeat and keep working, which is incredible. It's time you wrote a book on yourself.
Thank you, Sulji. Thank you, Sulji. After this corona outbreak, I wanted to come to Kerala first.
Okay, surely.
Please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your.
Thank you, Dr. Vignesh. Thank you, all participants, for keenly attending this workshop. I want you people, the led people, to derive something out of this amazing presentation, and do something for the society and promote this green economy and green jobs. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, all the participants. Thank you to our resource person, Dr. Sunil Chako.
Thank you, Dr. Vignesh. Thank you, Dr. Balopalji. Thank you to all participants, all who participated. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it.
Participants, I have already shared the feedback form URL in the chat box. So kindly submit your feedback form and then collect your certificate of participation. In case if you have not registered, kindly register yourself and then submit your feedback. Ms. Aarti, kindly send me a message